Welcome back from lunch break, and we have a discussion for you that is good for your sweet tooth, which is the AI candy shop, should pharma build or buy? And we have two contestants here. Before we actually go into the debate, we want you to judge what you think. Should pharma buy or build? Please answer the question: the House believes pharma should buy AI solutions, not build them.
I'm not allowed to vote.
No fighting so far yet?
No. There wasn't fighting, it's a debate. Not MMA.
We'll see the numbers coming in. 90% believe they should buy. Apparently no one's still in the vendors exhibition. Yeah. All in. Very good.
If everyone beats Alpha, this room is out of job, so that's going to be a challenge.
So let's go. Good starting point for you with your speech, 3 minutes on why pharma should build.
Should build? Sorry, hi, Florent, I'm from Sanofi. 2 years ago, I was on this stage for the ones who were there, and last night, so I was on this stage and I was advocating for experimenting AI at scale. And at that point in time, I was like, guys, you need to partner with all the members of the planet to learn from data. Today, I'm coming back. I have on this device about 1,500 agents that helps everyone in Sanofi, day in, day out, optimize the company. Those agents are a buy. And I'm coming to you today to defend the build. Why? Because I fundamentally believe that if we are not building today 3 layers, the data layer, the AI agent layer, and in between them, the Gen AI layer, and we don't own those 3 layers, we won't be able to compete in the marketplace in the future. The hybrid workforce is coming. Tomorrow, your teams will use agents. Agents will take decisions. You need to own that. Who would go and tell a patient that has taken the wrong dosage of the medicine, based on the Gen AI recommendation, that, oh, sorry, this agent was rented from XYZ, that's not my problem. You can do that. So we have a fundamental mission to remain in the marketplace, to build the foundation layer of AI, to partner with other agents, of course, and we own that to our own people. We need to augment our people with AI and create the hybrid workforce. And we need to own that workforce because it's your company. You don't want to have tomorrow a company with a rented field force and a rented marketing and rented R&D. And what are you doing sitting alone in your office, right? With only rented field. The future of work is AI. We can avoid it. Satya Nadella said, every single company is now a software company. So let's cut the bullshit. The famous, oh, we are in pharma, we are doing pharmaceutical products, we are not doing IT. Wrong. It's over.
Thanks, Paul. How do you reply?
I start by quoting Dario from this morning. Dario made an observation that for pharma, value comes from relevance and timing, not just reach. We agree AI is relevant, but my focus is on timing. And when it comes to speed to value, buying or partnering gets us there faster than building ourselves. And we can look at that in terms of where the investment is today. We can look at it in terms of where talent is today and who is getting that talent. And we might have some great examples at Sanofi right now, but if all of us took that approach, curious to see how your talent war stacks up. We have us together with Google and NVIDIA and Facebook and others, not to mention some of the going rates for talent of AI scientists in the Series D funds. So let me give you one example of this one. In a Series D fund organization right now, a startup, if you are an incredible AI talent, your equity stake can be worth 2 to 4 million. I'm not sure that we're paying many of our data scientists quite to that level today. And as we think about that speed to market, the talent, we also think about strategic focus. We in this room are in the business of healthcare, providing drugs and life-saving diagnostics to patients. Partnering lets us continue to have that focus while unlocking value faster. If I were to ask our teams today to build their own AI, it's like asking a Formula One driver to build their engine. They don't need to build the engine, they need to drive the car. And I'm not going to evaluate them on the end based on how good the engine is. I'm going to evaluate them based on how fast the car went around the track. So it's a complementary technology and capability that we bring. And for that reason, we should partner and buy.
Thanks very much. Florent said a lot about giving things out of hand. Would you be worried to give control to vendors that then build the car for you and you lose control over the car?
When I work with my vendors, I don't give them control, I retain that. Part of our obligation in a regulated environment, from a regulatory approval, but also from our commitment to our patients, is to maintain that control. And I think that as you pick partners or assets that you want to bring in, it's about where is the control and how you safeguard that through governance, procedures, education, and awareness campaigns. I'd also say this isn't a simple black and white topic. Today, I wouldn't trust myself to build an engine, but I would trust myself sometimes to drive a car. I haven't owned a car in 20 years, by the way, that's the reason why we stay on the roads. But it's also why you find the right talent for the right situation. And the right solution can still give you control.
Thanks, Deborah. Florent, we were talking about the speed and the pace that is needed to keep up with the evolving models, with the evolving technology that's out there. Can a pharma company really do that?
Yes, it takes a cultural change in the company. It takes to walk the talk. We have been talking about empowering people for years. We have been talking about agile methodology for years. It's a little bit time to do it, and it's time to do it at scale. By the way, talking about speed, we have a partnership with McLaren. So we work with the engineers that are building the McLaren cars. And those guys work with the driver. Because the driver has a permanent input in the design of the car. He has an input in every single element of the car. And that's really important. And we do that working in small units, focused on one single product that delivers always a solution targeting one of the corporate objectives of the company. Of course, when you do a survey in a company, you got 200 people telling you, I've got an ND for GenAI. Where is the value in that? You need to go permanent. You need to kill 185 of them. Maybe there's 15 who can demonstrate that they can create value. But those ones that differentiate you from your peers, you need to build them in-house so that you retain the knowledge. Those tools will have all your corporate processes. They will have like insight generation. 2 years ago I was talking about, I need to create an insight buddy. I should have said an insight agent that would be rich today with a trademark, but we call it buddy. Who would take all your market research and all your knowledge of your product and put it somewhere in a vendor for the vendor agent to tell you, oh, the insight is that you are slower than Novartis. You don't want that because you don't know what they're going to do with your data. And it's an NDA. After all, an NDA can be broken.
Can I ask you a follow-up question? Did you also build your CRM solution?
Not yet. So, that's a very good question. So, imagine one thing. Today, all your data for most of the pharma company is in Viva or in Salesforce. Somewhere, most of the pharma company have duplicated that data somewhere in a data layer, a data lake, in Snowflake, for instance. Nothing prevents you from running agentic AI directly on Snowflake, change and vectorize the data, and be able to use workflow automation directly. Tomorrow, every single task that Viva or Salesforce is doing can be replaced by something you build. I don't say you should do it. I say technically it's possible for a pharma company tomorrow to get rid of Viva and Salesforce.
Perfect.
And I would counter, baby.
Go ahead.
And I would counter, I would prefer not to do it. I would prefer to have those agents that I have third party help me out with, and I'd rather invest my precious capital in my sales team, in my medical advisors, who can use the data that happens to be sitting in a technology to have a trusted relationship and a conversation with the customer. Because that's where the value is, and AI will unlock that, where I can choose to invest more in my people.
Let's ask the audience, what do you think? Have you a question to our experts?
Oh yeah, we got a question.
One from the front.
Yes, the microphone is not working for us.
So my name is Ryan from Baltic. I think this is two really, really good arguments. One about control and one about speed to market. I think it's really good. My question is that like the speed of change has never been as fast as it is today, and it will never be this slow again. Which one of those do you think best protects you against the speed of change?
You want to start shortly?
Yeah, so the thing is, to be able to buy, you need talents. Once you got the talents in-house, you need to keep them entertained, and that means you need to keep changing. That's the one thing we are not good at in big pharma. We tend to put people on trajectory. They switch jobs every 3 years without proving anything, right? Like I did all my career. Like you don't deliver anything. You move before you realize the benefits. It's a tactic. Like everyone is doing this. In AI, if you want to follow the trend, because it's moving so fast, you need strong partnership, like with OpenAI. You need strong partnerships with universities, with startups, and you need the talents in-house. So that's why, for me, that protects us more than waiting for vendors to update their software based on their own strategy. May I remind you that 2 years ago, Viva was, we are never going to do AI inside Viva, it makes no sense. Guess what, 6 months ago, oh, we need to do AI. Of course, they're going to be out of the market. That's their strategy.
So I can build on it. I think the first one is how do you work together on this and bring this mindset in? I'm all for shifting mindsets, but if we think today, the average drug discovery process to bring a drug to market, we're talking 10 plus years. MedTech, 5 plus years. IT, 2 years. I was recently at a conference where an NVIDIA exec was speaking, and he kept saying, we don't expect that in the near term. We don't expect that in the near term. We don't expect that in the near term. And some brilliant audience member said, how long is the near term? 1 quarter. The shift culturally that you're talking about is asking the tankers in the room, even some of our agile tug buggies here, to move at a speed we've never moved at before. And as someone who works in partnering, what often you see is that we move and bring our insights and the way we work at big pharma to these innovative small companies, and we slow down that pace. And so if I look at what's going to future-proof us, what's going to have us continue to move forward and build up that talent in-house, I see bridging and having a partnership and buying as a real option.
It's good. There's a question in the front.
Yes. Both perspectives are, we could have pros and cons for both. I like the point of doing it in-house because then it's sustainable with all the advances and everything.
One.
Looking forward on your side.
But I also like the point of investing in the people, which we just spoke about, and also making sure that you're using that money. But my question to you is, are you really investing in the people? Because when you pay for those platforms, sometimes it feels like you're caught. Like, if you invest in a CRM, either you have to pay these millions every year, or you lose all the data because you haven't created something in-house. And you're sometimes attaching your data and all the knowledge to the price tag that this vendor is bringing. And the minute you decide to change, he tells you, yeah, but you're going to lose everything, right? So how do you balance that?
So if I go back to Dario's comment about relevance and accept that we both agree that this is going to be part of transforms our industry, there are some technical things you can do. I'll let you talk to some of that. But I think the other thing is going back to first principles strategically. Where do we derive value and differentiation in the market for our customers? And the answer is not in the technology platforms or the middleware or even the applications. It's our ability to use those tools to accomplish our goals. And I think as we look at going forward and how we maintain that control in our organizations, it's being very deliberate to say our bread and butter, our DNA is around medical. It's around molecules. It's around changing lives. And so where we can see that capability, I'd want that intelligence, that process, that bit to stay with us, and everything else, it's going to be commoditized.
Ken,
Yeah.
do you want to?
No, just to add, I think we also, like all pharma companies, are passionate about our science, the miracle it can bring. We invest a lot in build on AI to develop products, to accelerate products, to bring them faster to the market. It's not even us. I think it's Novo who managed to reduce the time to create a file for FDA from 45 days to something like a few hours. We can accelerate the time to market and get the drugs to the patient who need them faster. So, but that is definitely a competitive advantage. I don't think Novo could go around and give their tool for free to every single pharma company. If you do that through a vendor, that's a risk.
Thanks a lot. Let's get one more question in.
I think Florent needs help. So your key argument is speed of change. And one thing that we learned in marketing, and I remember that at Procter & Gamble, never go faster than your market. It's a predictor for failure. So I'm not sure speed of change is relevant when the HCP community is like the most concerned about the planet. And secondly, sustainability on the other hand is a reliable predictor for performance, both on the short term and the long term. So don't go for them.
No, sustainability. Yeah, no. No, but I think no. I'm not sure that the new generation of physicians are that conservative anymore. They use Gen AI, they use social media, they use that type of stuff, and the model that we have in our systems today of the physicians are sometimes a little bit outdated.
I would agree with you, while also saying there are some exceptions. Two things I bring to that light. One is, when we talk about AI, I see AI at this point in time for us as a tool. And it is not necessary when we go in to do our jobs for our toolkit to be relevant and visible to our customers. In the same way that we said earlier that we don't want to see the disconnect between our medical teams and our sales force, we don't want people to know when generative AI or when our tools, our agents in the background are enabling us to do our job better. We want to be able to show up and have a meaningful conversation. We want to have better outcomes for patients. And so I would say that to that argument, it's not about how fast the HCPs change, it's how well we are at adapting this technology into our organizations and ways of working. The other thing I'd say is in our defense, Rock's Health, ROCK Health, just published a report about the United States of AI adoption and tech adoption. And what I found most interesting was that it looked by cohort of age group who was actually using technology. And what was most fascinating for me is even in what they call the silent generation, the oldest population, I think they said 70 plus, it could be off on that, but the oldest generation, they were still seeing more than 30% uptick in use of digital health. And importantly, that group was 76% more likely to share their data with HCPs relative to the young generation, which is only around 20%. What that means is I think we've got more opportunity in the market than perhaps we think.
Perfect. If there's a very short question and one sentence answer each, then we still have time for the closing.
Hi, Russia representing Reinbolz here, and so we talked
We
about.
can't hear you.
Unfortunately, we can't hear you.
Hello?
Yeah, that's better.
Short question,
I'm
please.
representing Reinbolz and trying to make it short. Florent, you talked about building partnerships with universities, with startups. How do you build an external team that's lean enough and not creating so much burden within the IT organization to actually have that development and keep that team actually more innovative? Because you know how IT teams work, and it can be a challenge to keep it up with the speed.
So I think we heard this morning already. It has to come from the C-suite. It has to be everything you do in AI. If you don't have the support of at least one of your staff members, just scrap it. But then when you got the support of the CEO, when you got the support of the chief digital officer, they can give you the means to create those teams that move at high space. You can go around all the processes of the company and make sure that they are autonomous, acting as a startup, talking to startups. But it has to come from the C-suite, whether you build or you buy.
Thank you. Closing statement. You want to start?
Yeah, I think when we think about it, timing is often one of the key reasons why startups succeed or fail. Timing is one of the key reasons why we in pharma can stay relevant for our clinicians and our patients. And when we think about timing, AI has the potential to make accelerating timelines for our drug discovery, for making more precision medicine. But for us to harness that ability now, to take advantage of it, we have to take the time to build our platform.
Thanks a lot. What's your closing statement?
So agents are called agents because they act. That's a big difference with the previous system. They will take decisions on behalf of the company. To be able to have the right decision, they need to be independent from external pressure, they need to be built on the right data, with the right logic and the right frameworks. That's why I'm advocating that we build that base, that stack, and connect it to other external agents for what we call snackable AI, the stuff that is not core strategic AI. Tomorrow, the workforce, I come back on that point, the workforce will be hybrid. Do you want half of your company to be owned by external companies following the strategy of their company and not the strategy of your own company? That's why you need to follow it.
Thanks. Love the passion. In the first vote at the beginning, we had 75% of the audience say yes, buy, and do not build. I'd love to see now where we are at. Do we reset the vote and see what the audience now believes? We think who won the debate, who has the strongest arguments. The passion paid off. Oh. Six. You're happy?
That's right, it's just like Eurovision, just like Eurovision.
I think the votes are in. It's roughly 2/3 versus 1/3 for still buying, but you moved more of the audience. Still, a critical decision to be made, and the center of both arguments is probably where most of us will find the resolution. Thanks a lot, both of you.